Hello, how are you? It's my fifth time re-recording this. I'm red in the face from shouting, so I'll do this video, seriously, but I'll also do it sort of as shortly as I can because that's something that annoys me as well, is when I go on tangents, which I tend to do. This whole YouTube channel is just me fighting going down like a 2-hour tangent. If I recorded these things and I like fully stream consciousness, I would literally, I'd drive you insane. So I try to cut it down as much as I could. The shirt, by the way, sadtiz.com if you like it. With that out of the way, let's begin the video. This video I'm going to be talking about beginner combos. I got a recent comment basically saying, hey, I'm in Dublin, I'm looking to buy a combo and everything else. Where should I go buy it and all that. And that kind of made me realize, I said, shit, I've not been super thorough. Basically because I always just keep going back to basics, because I think that's the most important. But I've never explained exactly what I think your beginner combo should look like in a video, or at least not that I remember, or I haven't made it clear enough. And I also haven't told you what resources I think you should buy. This is specifically speaking from a European perspective, but I'm sure some things will definitely apply if you're a Yank or you're from down under, okay? So, right, let's start first things first with my setup here. And I don't recommend, by the way, that you have this exact setup one-to-one. A, because it's super fucking expensive, but B, you'll see in just a second, okay? So, serious video here. This rod is a 9-foot DAIWA ballistic LTD. If you're brand new to fishing, that's Chinese to you, it's a 9-foot rod, okay? The grammage is 15 to 50 grams. That means 15 to 50. So those are the sort of weights of lures that this rod can cast very efficiently. This is a lure fishing rod. You can bait fish on a lure fishing rod, just a small little addendum, but it'll be lighter. So you'll have like a 20-gram lead and you'll be casting like a small bait with that. So you can do both. So that's why for beginners, especially for your combos, I recommend starting off with a lure fishing rod like this. Doesn't mean that you over specialize. It means you can cast lures. Most of them all fit in between 15 to 50 gram. If it's lighter, you can still get away with it casting a 15 to 50 gram lure with a rod like this. Sorry, you can still cast maybe like a 7-8 gram lure with a 15 to 50 gram rod. I have a 7 to 28 gram rod. It's the exact version of this, so basically a lighter strength rod, and it feels pretty identical, or the difference is so small when I flick the lighter lures with this versus that one. So 15 to 50, sweet spot. Length, 9 foot, okay? No messing. I highly recommend a bit of a longer rod like this, especially if you're fishing kind of more wide open places. So be honest with yourself. Are you living next to streams, creeks, canals, places with loads of cover, a million trees, a million walls, a million all sorts of fucking obstacles that you're going to smack your rod into? In which case, go for a shorter rod, 6 foot. That's it. Shorter rod will also cast more accurately, so it is technically more beginner friendly, but trust me, you can get very accurate with a 9-foot rod if you put enough time into it. But be warned, it is more difficult. It's inherently more difficult, and there is a point of diminishing returns where you can no longer essentially cast super accurately. What I have over there is, it's in the case, I'm not arsed getting it out, but it's you've seen it before on my channel. It's a beach fishing rod, 14 foot, huge thing. Even with all my time that I have spent fishing it and fishing in general, I probably could not super accurately cast that within a certain distance. At a certain range, I reckon I could probably get it close enough, maybe 5 meters from where I actually kind of mentally intend for it to land. But even then, we're messing about a little bit. There's some degree of non-confidence. With this, I can very confidently cast my lure exactly where I want it. So I recommend essentially, as long as you're fishing in a wide open space, 9-foot rod, similar length to this, 15 to 50, so 15 to 50 grammage. Don't mess about with anything in between. I think you're getting perhaps a bit too specific there, like a little bit too niche. And at that point, if you're buying your second rod to be niche, like, you're kind of ascending a little bit from beginner. But again, you can stick with this for your entire life and you'll be fine. Trust me, 15 to 50, sweet spot. Reels. Sorry, before I touch on that over there if you're looking for that kind of bait fishing, which I'll just touch on as well, just as briefly as I can, that is a 14-foot Daiwa Sea Hunter. The grammage is 150 to 250 grams, so that's very heavy. So that's intentionally basically made for beach fishing, sea fishing, casting your bait really, really far, and having a very heavy lead so it'll stay in stronger current. That's the whole point of that, okay? So just that's what that is over there, and then we're going to touch on the reels, and I'll address the reels for both. So this is a very expensive reel. This is a DAIWA ⵐᵉⁿ. My girlfriend got me this. It's probably like I couldn't believe it when I got it. I got it just before I actually went off to the military, and I was like, fuck me, like I'm gonna be locked up in that cage, man, and I'm not gonna be able to go fish. But anyways, this one, 3000 size. That's the sort of size that you wanna stick with. 3000, 4000. This is kind of the where I think lure fishing is at. If you want to go smaller, 1000, 2000 size, to like do the opposite of like overcompensating, you can do that if you want. I recommend a 3000 to 4000 size because you can stick more braid on there. So if you're ever fishing somewhere where you're going to be on a boat or something like that and you need to let out a lot of line or whatever it is, I feel like the difference in reel size will not hurt your wrist that much. Which, by the way, if you're fishing for long enough, again, I don't think a lot of people actually get to this stage. I think maybe I'm just a little bit too locked in, a little bit too obsessed with the fishing. But if you fish for long enough, you're casting for long enough, your wrist is going to start hurting. It almost feels like carpal tunnel. You're just doing this all the time, and it'll hurt you after a while, especially if you're casting heavier stuff. So 3000, 4000 size for this, and I won't get too bogged down. That over there for that beach fishing rod, beach fishing combo, highly recommend 5000. So I use a BG, DAIWA BG 5000 for that. Love the BG series, really, really good. I think beginner reel, not super beginner, technically kind of like mid-range in price. So DAIWA Ninja LT I think would be the best place to start for a beginner lure fishing reel. Again, 3000, 4000 size for that. You could probably get that for 40 something euro, 50 something euro, maybe less, probably less. Really, really, really good. If you're looking to step it up from that, kind of get something that it's harder to break, easier to, in my opinion, it's easier to kind of maintain and use because, again, it's harder to break. The thing is solid. It is heavier though. It's the BG 3000, 4000. I use those for ages. And like I said in my DAIWA BG is indestructible review. Highly, highly recommend. Can't really go wrong with it. I use a 5000 size reel for the beach fishing over there. Not necessarily that you need that much line nowadays with the invention of braid, which is going to be the next topic, but you know, let's not jump too far ahead. The reason why I use a big reel is because it's sort of classic. So you've always kind of used a big reel when it comes to beach fishing, bait fishing, all this kind of deal. But also when it comes to laying on your shock later, which is a thing specifically for beach fishing and fishing with really, really heavy baits and lures. And when you're casting very, very heavy things, you want some strong line to essentially take away the shock resistance, basically add shock resistance to your setup. So essentially the whole length of the rod going into the reel, I have an FG knot tied in with, I think it's 50 or 80 pound monofilament. And you use that then that way to just kind of take the shock out of your braid. Again, I do think braid could probably just be used all the way through. I have used it all the way through before, but I suppose using a shock leader has definitely made me feel more confident in the cast and let me really punch it out there. Meanwhile, braid before I've had issues where I've had kind of break offs, snap offs, rip offs, just tear offs, like just lost the braid. And I don't know exactly why. I've experienced it before where I realized that my eyelets were broken. Okay, I'm going off topic. Okay, I caught myself. So I've explained the reels, the sizes that you want, the length of rod that you want. And sorry, the length of rod for the beach fishing rod is 14 to 15. In case I didn't say that, feet. The reel, 3000, 4000 for spin fishing, and I use a BG 5000, so maybe a 5000, 6000 for beach or bait fishing kind of applications. When it comes to your braid, I use DAIWA J braid on everything, believe it or not, even on the sea fishing combo, but I obviously back it with something. That's kind of a more advanced thing, which is essentially where you start off your spool with monofilament. It gets to a certain point, you then tie on the braid, and that's that. It basically just means you use less braid because braid is very, very fine and compact. It doesn't have a large line diameter, so you can fit a lot of braid on not a lot of space. So you don't need to fill up your whole spool with braid line. Like, you know, if you use 300 meters of line, like as long as you fill up the backing and you make sure your braid is kind of at this level where it's sitting kind of like that, I think that's perfectly, that's like ideal amount of spooling. You don't need more or less. You can buy off-band, I just hit my light bulb. That would have been fucking crazy on video. You can buy cheap braid. I recommend Hercules is a good brand. I used it, I bought it through Amazon ages ago when I first started out fishing. Stuck with it for a long time and used that for ages, and I didn't really have a problem until I kind of started casting it with the beach fishing rod down there, and I started getting shears and tears and everything else. I wrote that in my compendium. That was a rough time that I had for a bit. I didn't understand why. But again, it could have been because my eyelets were gone. So, you know, either way, I bought like a 500 meter or a kilometer of DAIWA J braid. Don't ask me how much that was, because I'll lose my mind. So stick with the Hercules. That's good cheap braid. Just whatever you do, don't fall for the trap that's like, oh, the 60-pound braid versus the 20-pound braid, like the diameter difference isn't that much. I guess I'll just go for the 60-pound just to be safe. That's when you start making mistakes. I used 60-pound braid for a long time, and when I swapped to 20, or I think I had a friend who I used to fish with all the time, and he basically let me use his rod once, just to cast it once or twice, you know, just to feel what it was like. He had 20-pound braid, and I was like, man, what is casting this so well? Because I think I had a better reel than him, and he was like, man, it's 20-pound braid. I'm like, oh man, should I swap from 60? He's like, yeah. And yeah, so trust me, it does make a big difference. So kind of 20-25 pound-ish braid, Hercules brand, no problem. Again, won't touch on it too long. I always talk about leaders. For the love of God, if you care about fishing big time, you know, you want to put a little bit of preparation, a little bit of effort in. Learn the FG knot. I have a video where I tie it down by the beach in the beginner fishing video. Just look for it. It's like knots, terminal tackle, everything else. I kind of explain it in the video. And I think that's probably where I'll leave that off. Sorry, I forgot. I said that I'll touch on lures, or maybe I didn't, or maybe I did. I don't know. I'm schizophrenic. Let me check this. All right. So this is my fishing belt. I'll address this in another video. All very tactical and everything, but essentially just stick with soft plastics. I highly recommend. Again, I've done this in another one of my fishing videos where I talked about what lures I recommend people get. Let's start you off on this side here. Again, I promise I'll make this as short as possible here. So this is the Savage Gear Sand Eel V2. This is the actual official one, you know, actually from Savage Gear. As you know from my video where I talk about always buy lures from Temu, completely okay to buy it from Temu. Just this is what, €7 plus the replacement plastic on the back. I don't think that's that bad of a deal considering it swims very efficiently, and I can't seem to find the weedless version on Temu. And when you buy weedless stuff on Temu, it can be kind of done or machined or molded wrong, so it can be a little bit funny. So Savage Gear weedless Sand Eel V2. Holy fuck, that's a mouthful. So essentially soft plastic lures that are either weedless, which is where the hook lies within the lure, like this, or just kind of the regular ones where it's actually just sticking out of the top. I think I don't actually, do I have any regular kind of soft plastics? Yeah, I do. So if it looks like this, essentially, that's all right. This one's a little bit light. You basically want one with a metal thing at the front, kind of like a metal jig head. They're cheap. They swim in all conditions. They swim if you fish it fast or slow, that tail will still go. That rhymes. And just highly recommend it. You know, cost effective, cheap, useful, catch a lot of fish. They work. Okay. Moving on from that, metals. Talked about these guys a million times before. This is your Savage Gear Surf Seeker. That's what it is. This is the 30-gram version, so I think it's a little bit heavier than the other version that they do. Anyways, just a metal, cast it out, flick, 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 search for stuff in the top to mid-water, all that other stuff. You can buy two of the same, paint one a different color with some with a marker. Remember, you don't have to stick to the colors that the lures actually come in. If they're metal or something else, you can kind of just paint over them with a permanent marker if you want. If you want to have like a more subtle presentation, just paint over it with a black marker, break it up a little bit, mess around with the silhouette, see what works for you. I understand this is a beginner fishing video, so I'm not going to go too crazy in it. And then finally, don't mind the hook on this too much. It's got a bit tore up from the bluefish, but highly recommend this. So you can see it's lost so much paint because I've caught so many fish on it. This is the Savage Gear Panic Prey V2. Hook on it's torn up. I think actually maybe you can or cannot buy this anymore, but it's a top water lure. Either recommend a top water lure or a plug if you're looking to buy on the lures. When it comes to the baits and the setups for bait fishing and all that other stuff, 2-hook flapper, really good rig that we use here in Ireland. It's very successful. I'm pretty sure it's it's probably called like a Southwest Jim Bob slider or something like that. If you're an American, you guys always have weird names for all your fishing stuff. Basically, 2 hooks, 2-hook setup, weight on the bottom, 2 hooks going up and down the line. That'll do you. Don't worry too much about all the complicated stuff. 16-minute video, and now you know exactly where to buy it from. Oh, finally, the links on the sites that I recommend you. So fishernator.deutschland, fishernator.de, highly recommend. Tried to reach out for them for like a promo code like a year and a half ago when I was like even more of a nobody than I am now. So maybe we'll try again. If they get through to me, then it'll be great. Then you guys will get some money off. If not, I won't. I'll update you in the comments regardless. Fishdeal.ie, they are based in the Netherlands. They deliver here though as well, so it's really good. Amazon's very good. And like I always say, Temu, AliExpress, these kind of deals, if you can look up like a kind of a conventional brand name lure, you can see the site, the shape, size, profile, everything else. If it all looks like it matches up, I recommend maybe just giving it a chance on AliExpress or Temu. Remember, don't hang your hopes on it. Don't be like, oh, I need this lure to work. If you need it that badly, then go to the brand name. But if you got some time to fuck around, definitely Temu, AliExpress, highly recommend. Don't have a code for either of them. I probably could get a Temu code, because I wouldn't mind. Anyways, buy the shirts, read the Angler's Compendium. God bless. Bye-bye.